Yeah. Ow. Okay. This is exhausted. I'm so tired. Who are you? Bree. Bree. Newfer. Capital Neuffer. Yeah. a.k.a. Easy Shine. A Christian. Where was I when I first gave my life to God? I was 5. And then again at 12. And then 24. I don't know if you'd call it a survivor. Not really. God redirected my path from a life of violence, and that was the first part of my life. Then, at 24, no, 21, I got deliverance. And then at 23, I think it is, that he started like dealing with me to get closer to him. So I started praying. I started developing a relationship with Jesus through worship and Bible and prayer, but mostly worship and prayer. And God started talking to me and drawing me to him. And then when I was 24, God gave me a vision of what he was going to use my life for. And then yeah. And since then, I was 25, I think 24. I surrendered my life 100% to God. And at that time, I was single in ministry, youth ministry. And yeah. So after I got saved 100%, surrendered to Jesus, he showed me. Like he opened my spiritual eyes. Yeah. I've been following as best I can ever since. But his word became alive on the pages, and then it became alive in me. And when that happened, started cultivating a relationship with the gifts that God has placed inside me for his purpose and glory on earth. And it helps to save souls. Cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too. I was disobedient and married someone I shouldn't have, and yeah, I reaped the consequences. decision. I made the wrong decision to marry a person that I had a kid from. I didn't want to be out of wedlock, and God will still honor your child out of wedlock. He will not put you in harm's way just to save face that you don't have a bastard child. So I met Seven online when I was working for the ministry, and I hadn't met him completely, but it goes back to 2004. 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 years later, met him again online. And then I was presented with someone that was real versus someone that was fake. Like, sometimes when the Holy Spirit's on fire inside you and you encounter Jesus in another dimension, it can ignite God's gifts in you at a greater level, right? It's like touching the flame with a flame. They ignite each other. So that's what happened when I met Seven and let his music minister to me. What I was going through. And then God, was crafting out the gifts in me that He's given me in writing. And it began to flow, and then the enemy started going against it and ripping it up. What can I say? So I knew it was of God. I knew God gave it to me. So, the one thing the second God gives you something and it's attacked, you know that God gave it to you. Even with provision and protection, it has protection. But it's not null and void of being attacked. Like you have a glass beam over a possum, right? You got a hungry tiger that can attack the glass all at once, but it's attached to the ground and it's not going anywhere. That's basically what it was like when I had my writing, my poetry, spoken word, that stuff. And then my ministry online started in 2010. I prayed about it. Yeah. And at that time, I was under severe military boot camp type. It's like, I forgot the name of it, where you are sleep deprived and you are pushed to the limits of what your body can and can't do. My body is robotic mode. It was a hyper robotic mode, but it's a safe mode. Like, your phone has a safe mode, your body has a safe mode. And when it goes to the limit of 4 days or 5 days without sleep, or even 6 days, like a whole week. For me, it was a lot of 2 weeks that I didn't have sleep. And your body has mechanisms on functioning. Mine happened to be hyper-functioning. Severe. And it was from trauma. So it was like a protective mechanism for me, being in the middle of trauma. So that's why it was so much. It was so much. And it was nonstop. And then I left that. Yeah. God made a way and I left it. And Or that could be. But anyway, it would have been a double homicide. Well, double murder. Because of being pregnant, but yeah. That was just a spiritual, like, that was a repercussion of not obeying God. Like, being taken sooner than God intended. Yeah. I have absolutely no fear of anything, and that was a lot of my issue that night. I don't have fear, but I wasn't even loud. I was just, like, I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's a reason why in the Bible it talks about not to like sleep. Like, don't like it. Because it's one of the things that the devil attacks the most. The most. Because your body requires it. Like, he just wants to give you a life where you have plenty of sleep. And not to be in control of how much you get. That God is. Yeah. And I know for me, I don't know what to say other than I have had years and years and years of obeying God. He says go. And my life, to be used by Him for whatever reason. Just being present is how I've been able to help. Because that's enough for me. For me, as a human being, that's about what I can do. Be present. Anything beyond that, I can't. Anything prior to that, I can't do that either. But I can be present. And from the time my kids were babies to now, I have had them ministered to from Him. I'm 7, and I have a lot to say about certain videos that I've seen, especially the one he just did. I have a lot to say. Like a commentary video, I would do in a heartbeat. I had a lot of patience watching that video because, first of all, nobody, unless they're of African American descent, has any right to even mention the word nigger or nigga, because it doesn't exist in the white culture. It doesn't. It didn't generate from there, and it doesn't exist there. That is like from the time you're little. From the time you are little and your mom is calling you, get over here, you little nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, moms call their sons that. Like, that's home. Like, that's... It's kind of like when, from a perspective of nigger, they made up nigga. It's like, it's not disrespectful at all. It's loving. It's a loving word. They made something that was used horribly, and they turned it into something positive. And it's like a reshaping of something that Satan used in a bad, horrible season of life for African Americans. And it's something that should be respected with them using it. And it's not. And oh my God, like, when I see someone, like, you held yourself really well there in that interview. Because I'm just like, I would have unleashed myself. I mean, I'm not like all angry or anything, but I had to have a lot of self-control watching that, because it was just one thing after the other, and then you're just like, why? Who has the authority to even talk about it? Nobody. Unless you had an ancestor that was in the slave market and the slave trade, you don't have a right to even say anything about it. Yeah, you may marry into the families that are say that stuff all the time. My son says it constantly, because it's like a brotherly term, and it brings laughter, it brings joy, it brings harmony, it brings peace, it brings camaraderie, it brings spirit of unity. I could go on and on and on and on. And for other people to say that people shouldn't say that, like, I felt exactly how he did, except 10 times on highs. I was like, no, they didn't. When you took time out to come there, and they're like tearing you down for the way you're talking, like, and then you gotta remind them who they're talking to, because they just don't know. They don't get it. And that's okay. God bless his set of teeth. I had a hard time watching the teeth, but it's okay. And then she has an extreme attitude. She struggled a lot with what you were talking about, because she had to confirm what she was hearing by looking at the dude all the time. Not you, son of a Trey, or whatever his name is. When something didn't sound right, like she was agree with it, she looked at him like, what the hell are you doing? Why do that? You have a mind of your own? I don't want to be rude, but that's just sad. But yeah, so God's provided a place and a roof over our head for 8-9 months. Not our ideal, however, it's still a blessing. And I've gone through quite a bit of changes.